Welcome back to the reading of the Mahabharata. But just to take a moment, today we heard the news, भाई और बहनों, ये मेरा आखिरी प्रसारण है. आप समझ रहे हैं ना मैं किन की बात कर रहा हूं? हमारे प्रिय अमीन साहनी जी. आज उनका निधन हो चुका है. Somebody who inspires generations to come with his voice. And as we read the story, we offer our Shraddhanjali, as they would say in Hindi, to him. And we start. Chapter 11. Pandu is cursed. Several years passed. Young Kunti was now old enough to be married. She chose the handsome, powerful son of the Kuru house, Pandu, as her husband in a Swayamvara. Madri, the princess of the Madra kingdom, was the other woman who chose Pandu for her lord. Bhishma made arrangements for the two weddings to take place in a manner suited to their rank and race. It was the golden age of the Kuru house. Pandu was a good soldier. He went on a tour of the entire Bharatavarsha, intent on subjugating all the kings. He conquered the Dasarnas, Kasi, Anga, Vanga, and Kalinga. He descended on the kingdom of Magadha. He was able to defeat the king easily. Since the time when the kings Chitrangada and Vishchitravirya died, without leaving any heirs, Bhishma had the kingdom to manage, and all the three small children too. These smaller kingdoms then thought that the glory of the Kuru house was on the wane. Hence, this campaign of Pandu was effective in more ways than one. It re-established the supremacy of the Kuru house. It won fame for Pandu. He was claimed to be the best soldier of his times. After the campaign was over, Pandu with his two queens, went to the forest for relaxation. He was a great hunter too. On the southern slopes of the snowy Himalayas, he spent many happy days with his two young wives. The dwellers in the forests mistook them for devas who had come down to the earth for amusement. It was a happy time for them. In after years, it was the memory of these days filled with pleasure that kept Kunti alive. In that forest lived a rishi and his wife. The two were intensely in love with each other. The rishi wanted to enjoy the pleasures of love without any restraint. Since only animals are able to love without any thought of the openness of it, the rishi and his wife often changed themselves into a couple of deer. They were always together. One day, when the deer was lost to everything in the pleasure of coming together, Pandu saw them. They were excellent targets. The hunter in him made him forget the law that no two animals which are together in the embrace of love should be disturbed. He took his bow and arrow and aimed at the couple. In a moment, the male deer fell to the ground, hurt fatally. It addressed the king in a human voice and said, "Born in a family known the world over for its righteousness, how could you have done this sinful thing? You saw that we were lost in the embrace of love. How could you have the heart to disturb us? I am a rishi and this is my wife. We were so happy together. In after years, this heinous action of yours will cost you your life. When overcome with love, you approach your wife, death will come to you even as it did to me." All the pleadings of Pandu were of no avail. The angry rishi would not relent, and there was no hope of escaping the fate that awaited him. The rishi died, and his wife too along with him. With a heavy heart, the poor unfortunate prince wended his way to the ashrama, chiding himself for his thoughtlessness. Fate's ways are indeed mysterious. At a touch, it changes the entire future of a man. Pandu was the happiest of men with nothing to worry. He was the uncrowned king of the entire kingdom of the Kurus. At the peak of his glory, he was laid low, like a green tree struck down by lightning. Pandu lost all interest in everything. He did not wish to return to his kingdom. He told his wives that he had made up his mind to spend the rest of his life in the forest. Knowing the reason behind this decision and the cause of the king's despondency, they did not speak a word. The fire of self-reproach had burnt Pandu. He was free of all worldly aspirations. He wanted nothing else than peace, peace which could only be attained by living as the rishis did. He made up his mind that his next conquest would be over the self. This would be his greatest conquest. He set a law unto himself. He said, "From now onwards, I will be a different man. Neither pleasure nor sorrow can hurt me. Praise and censure I will treat with equal indifference. The opposites will find me unaffected by them. I will not love this life of mine, nor will I hate it. I will do penance, not by sitting under the tree with my eyes closed, but by mentally renouncing all the worldly things." He collected all his retinue round him. He gave away all his belongings to them. He said, "Please go back to Hastinapura and salute my dear mother Ambalika and my grandmother Satyavati and my revered uncle Bhishma. Tell them about the course of life I've planned out to myself. I have no intention of coming back to the city." Kunti and Madri, his wives, and the queens, discarded all their jewels and costly silks and gave them all to the departing messengers. Hearing about the renunciation of Pandu, the city of Hastinapura was sunk in woe. Bhishma was very much grieved at the unfortunate happenings. As for Ambalika, her eyes rained tears incessantly. It was not possible for anyone to console her. Bhishma felt that the burden was once again placed on his shoulders. With the powerful Pandu as the commander and ruler of the kingdom, and with the wise and gentle Vidura as the mentor of the blind king, Dhritarashtra, Bhishma thought that the weight of the kingdom had been lifted off his shoulders. But now it was evident that his short respite was over. He had to rule the kingdom again. He knew not for how long. The ice which had entered his heart on that unforgettable day when he renounced the world and the joys of the world for the sake of his father hardened further. Bhishma felt he was impervious to all hurts. With this, we come to the end of chapter 11. Pandu is cursed. More like this in the next episodes of the Mahabharata by Kamala Subramaniam. This is me, Rajesh, signing off on Storytime with Rajesh.